What's up again, everybody? I'm just gonna say this outright. I've recorded the intro 28 times. I haven't landed it, so I'm just gonna skip it and we're gonna talk about what the video's about. Look, here's the thing. There is one format that your LGS can run to pull in the maximum amount of new and casual players to the game of Flesh and Blood. And you want to support your LGS and you want to see this game grow. I am assuming all of these things about you. You know what happens when you assume, though? Sometimes you're wrong, but hopefully in this case I'm right. If you would like to know that single format, that singular thing that can do the most work for your LGS and for your community locally as a whole, well, then you're watching the correct video, because I got this information during a conversation I had with James White back at the Pro Tour Baltimore. Had a chance to sit down at dinner. I sat at one table. James White sat the other side of me. He's like behind me. And at one point I leaned back and I said, "Hey, James," and I just was at a loss for words for a moment. I said, "You know what? You're making a great game. You should keep making that." I know, very eloquent, very touching, very heartfelt. And he said, "Thank you." And then he asked me a very specific question. He said, "Hey, have you seen that article that went live pretty recently? It's about casual play." And I said, "What, you mean this article?" And he said, "Yes, that article." And I said, "Yes." And I was very excited and I planned on making a video about it. And he told me something quite interesting. He said, "You were really excited about casual play. We really want to bring more players into the game, and we think that casual play is the best way to do that. And so we changed the way that you can use your armory kits at an LGS level in hopes that people will embrace more casual formats as we make other changes as well and make other kind of tweaks. We really want players to jump into these other formats because we feel like this is a great way for new players to interface at an entry point, an entry level that is very easy to just kind of gravitate to. So something like Ultimate Pit Fight, Commoner, Shapeshifter Sealed, and then Blitz Pre-Constructed. And he said something quite interesting about Blitz Pre-Constructed. He said, "We have people in the office that go about calling LGSs all over the world, and they're asking for things that are working, things that aren't working, what those LGSs need, how we can make the experience better." He told me all of this, and then he said these exact things, and this has been ruminating with me for the past month now almost. He said, "The number one thing that we get from the big Flesh and Blood stores that are finding the most success in pulling in players and having big events, weekly events and things like this, is that they are already running Blitz pre-constructed events almost monthly, if not more." And that took me aback because I was thinking to myself, really, Blitz pre-constructed? And it makes sense when you think about it. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you the Blitz pre-constructed format in a very short and sweet point. This is a great quick start guide right there. And I'll tell you why I think that this makes 100% sense. So if we jump over to the Blitz pre-constructed format, this is found, by the way, on the main website by going to Game Formats right here. And then from that formats, you scroll to the bottom. Believe it or not, it's actually the very last one. It was added on April 21st. And this is Blitz Pre-Constructed. So check this out. The way Blitz Pre-Constructed works is that you, as an LGS, will purchase Blitz Pre-Constructed decks. And then you'll say, "Today is Blitz Pre-Constructed Day." To enter, you buy a Blitz Pre-Constructed deck. That's it. And then players will select a Blitz pre-constructed deck to play with. They'll buy it off the shelves. That will essentially be their entry, paying their entry to actually play in the event. And then you give away some just like promo prizes from the armory kit as raffles, essentially. And all of this, the benefits to this are kind of explained right here. Looking for a quick and simple way to dive into Flesh and Blood? Look no further than Blitz Precon. This entry-level format starts players off with pre-built decks. You, as a store owner or as a community leader that wants to bring more people in, can say, "Hey, you want to play the game? All you got to do is buy one of these. It's already built for you. We're going to sit down. We're going to play 2-3 rounds. And you don't have to worry about like trying to spike the thing and get prizes because they're just going to get raffled off." It's how much? Oh, $12. Yeah. And you get the deck and you take it home and you're done. The decks within each set are balanced against each other, so everyone has a fair shot at victory, whether you're a seasoned player looking to try out a new hero or a player just starting out. Blitz Precon is a great way to get in the game, and this is what I'm going to talk about as well, because James also said something quite interesting. He said for new players, this is a fantastic, like, it's the lowest barrier of entry you can possibly have. His words. This is the lowest barrier of entry in any format that you can have. But, he said, all the seasoned players just treated this like it was sealed. It was just like a palette cleanser as well. I mean, if you think about it, this is almost just like playing a sealed deck like format. Like if you go to formats, it literally just like opening 6 packs and playing sealed right here. But instead, you're doing it at a very easy entry point where the deck's already built. So for new players, they don't have to build a deck. And for you, you're just having a great time slinging cards, feeling a little bit more laid back in general, playing a precon deck. And then he said, and I believe this is correct, or I could be misremembering this, so I don't know, James, if you're watching this, you could tell me. Of course, I apologize if I'm putting words in your mouth. Please correct me in the comments or whatever. Essentially, like in a franchise player that doesn't necessarily need the deck, just gives it to the person that is new to the game, and now they have 2 precon decks. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that, but for me, I have a copy of all the precons that I play with my kids. If I went to one of these events, and I would like to go to one of these events, this precon deck is just as easy as me considering it like a sealed deck. And what do I do with all my sealed deck stuff? I literally give them to someone that's new so that they can build with the cards. In this case, it's even better for that new player because now they have 2 functional built decks to go against each other. So how do you make this work for your LGS? Well, you're going to run this event like this. Pick one of the formats. History Pack 1 has 6 decks available to you. Outsiders, 6 decks available to you. Uprising only has the 2, which makes it a little different, so you maybe mix it with something. Tales of Aria has 3, Monarch has 4. If you want to, you can pick within all of these. You can literally just say to someone, hey, buy any deck off the shelf, that is the deck you're going to go with, as my computer dings in the background. And just play that. Or you could say, hey, today we're just going to celebrate Outsiders. Pick any of the Outsiders Blitz Precon decks. You're going to play that hero. You're going to run it out there, and we're going to play 2 to 3 rounds, maybe 4 rounds, and then just jam out games. How would you set up the tournament? Well, this is very easy because they actually tell you. If it's a 3 to 4 player, which is super casual, nice laid back. I played in a 5-player recently event at my local game store, and we ran 3 Swiss rounds. But if you're a 3 to 4 player, you run 2 Swiss rounds. If you're a 5 to 8 players, you all buy a Blitz Precon and you run 3 rounds. And anything past that, you start doing a top cut. But honestly, at this point, you may not even, 17 to 32, but if you have like 9 players, you could probably just call it there. 4 rounds, 3 rounds, whatever you want. This is the lowest of like comfortable, casual, like laid back play that you can make it. And so you can use this as a nice little guideline and then springboard off of that. As far as how the actual game functions, think of it just like Blitz. It's literally Blitz. The format is literally Blitz. Each player starts with a pre-built Blitz deck. You have 40 cards in the deck. You don't change anything. 30 minutes per round. It's a best of 1. Okay, literally all explained right here. It's cake, and it's perfect for inviting new players in. It's perfect for that nice change of pace if you're trying to build a weekly scene. And that is a fantastic thing to strive for, because if you pull someone in weekly, if you engage them continuously, if you're building up your community by bringing them together in the flesh and blood so they can interact, have fun, engage with each other, giving them a nice palate cleanser day for those that are in franchise, and allowing those players that are new to feel not afraid to jump in is the best case scenario. And this was something, now that I'm talking about it, I remember as well. He mentioned, there's oftentimes players that will say, I really want to try the game, but I know that the local scene is really competitive, and I just don't know how to get into that. And I don't know how to take that step forward and actually kind of like play the game at that level because I know I'm not that good. I was talking to my buddy Jim over at Fab TCG Cards. He said the exact same thing, that he's experienced players have come to him that like, hey, I want to pick up the game. This is not something that I necessarily feel super comfortable with right now because I know everyone around here is so good at the game already, so invested already. I just don't feel comfortable going to a CC night, going to maybe even a blitz night. Well, run blitz pre-constructed. That way that player can sit down, learn a hero, get a blitz deck, take it home at the end of the night, and then you and your players can approach them and say, hey, well, here's how you could, amp that up a little bit. Let's take a look at some of the blitz decks on, something like a Fabrary or, on Fab TCG, where you can literally go events, deck lists, and type in any hero. Like, so if you pick up the Phi list, if you go here, you can look at Phi lists. If you have that Phi blitz precon, now you can look here at, here's battle-hardened Baltimore. This was last year, but that's okay because you can look at this and you can see kind of how that list was built out. You can do the same thing with any hero on here, and you can also go to wonderful resources like FabDB, Fabrary. They all function well, but this is a way for you to take and springboard off of that. And I'm telling you right now, building up a casual scene is the best thing that you can do for your for the health and longevity of your community. There's nothing better than approaching this from a casual perspective first and building those new players up so they feel like one of the group, so to speak, as far as playability is concerned. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to make numbers go slightly higher. If you'd like to support me, head on over to Patreon. You can support the channel and get some cool altar cards that we make and then we ship out. And then you can also, check the links down in the description to buy wonderful single cards from a variety of fantastic places like MinMax Games, the official sponsor of this channel, and my good buddy Jim over at Fab TCG Cards. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.